for today's video, we are going to be diving into a video that has been really highly requested ever since I did my video on this Ouija board demon. If you guys watched that first video, you guys know that I just personally, with this specific demon, do not feel comfortable saying his name. However, one thing that I do really quickly want to note is those of you saying that you have a nickname like this, or that your nickname is pronounced like this, or your cat's name is pronounced like this, or you've already said it out loud, it's definitely not going to bring this thing on. It's just with me personally sitting here spreading knowledge on, or talking about, or researching, or spending all of this time consuming it and then repeating the name multiple times. It just doesn't seem like the brightest idea for me personally. So don't worry if you have a nickname that sounds like this or anything of those sorts. I just personally have chosen not to repeat this name. Ever since I did that video, so many of you guys have been asking me and requesting that I share somebody's true experience with this Ouija board demon. So for today's video, that is exactly what we are going to do. I took to the world of the internet. I dove through countless encounters until I found one that seemed very real but also incredibly freaky, and I printed it out and decided to read it with you guys today. So that is exactly what we are going to do, and without further ado, let's just dive into it because this one is relatively long and I'm nervous. Okay, let's do it. Hi all, I've been a follower for a very long time, but I am a first-time poster, so this will be a long post. I'll just dive straight into it. It was fall in 8th grade. This experience was close to a decade ago, but I remember it to this day like yesterday. It would be a night that would change me forever. My good friend at the time, David, had been using his homemade Ouija board at my friend Jared's house just up the road. He wouldn't stop talking about it. Apparently, they had extended contact with a spirit named Yvonne. Remember this name, as it will come back later. He went on and on about what happened, but I was very skeptical, yet intrigued. I have always been fascinated by the paranormal. Some of my earliest memories are of me staying up late watching History Channel's Haunted History with my mom. After hearing him go on and on for what seemed like hours, we made plans to hang out the following Friday and purchase a real Ouija board. We purchased the board from a local record and occult bookstore for $19.99. I clearly remember the old man who ran the register warning us that it's not a toy and to be careful. We also joked around with an older couple, mid-30s, and they made comments along the lines of, "Aw, your first Ouija board? That's a rite of passage. Still remember my first experience with demons." We laughed it off and went on our way. When we returned, we hunkered down in my basement. The plan was to order pizza, watch a scary movie that just came out, and wait until 3 a.m. to start the fun. The pizza came and went, and we thoroughly enjoyed the movie, but we still had a few hours to burn. We spent the following hours playing Gears of War 2 and the demo of recently released Bulletstorm. We also got prepared. We researched what to do and not to do when using a spirit board, and in that research, we came across the name. This is a name that will haunt me for the rest of my life. After what seemed like days, the time finally came, the witching hour. We were alone. The house was still. I think it's important to note my older brother was sleeping in the basement in a different room which he occupied. We gathered our materials, a few white candles which we heard would attract more pleasant spirits, a cross from my baptism, a cleared off table, and the board itself. I will admit I was already shaking uncontrollably even though I was still skeptical at this point. I kept telling myself in my head that nothing was going to happen, this was all BS. I would be proven wrong though in a matter of minutes. So it began. No light except for the few tea light candles we lit around the board. We started by warming the board up, which we heard about online, and then he repeats Ouija 3 times. We recited as we both moved the plastic optical piece around in circles. At that time, it seemed the room darkened. There was a strange sense of focus on the board. It was almost as if it was glowing. We asked our first question, are there any spirits present? The plastic piece slowly crept to yes. I was dumbfounded. I kept asking him if he was moving it, but by the look on his face, I really truly knew the answer. He wasn't. The first spirit we came in contact with was apparently an angry old man. He cursed at us and told us we were going to die. With more questions we asked, he increasingly got more angry. I knew this was for real now. You could feel it. The cold being sucked out of the room, you could just feel the presence. We both got freaked out and agreed to slam the cross on the board. In an instant, all was still and he was gone. I was done. If I wasn't shaking before, I was now. I wanted to put the box away, burn the thing, and forget about it. But my friends pushed me to keep going, and at that, we made one of the stupidest mistakes I've made in my life. He wanted to try and contact Yvonne again, or Evan. Maybe it's Evan, guys. It's E-V-O-N. I have a cousin named Evan, and he spells his E-V-A-N, so like I'm so used to seeing it like that. Maybe I'll say Evan. That seems a little more... Anyways, he asked out loud, is there a spirit named Evan with us here tonight? Again, the board slowly crept over to yes. The air grew thick. It was heavy and stale and almost frigid. All the hairs on our body were standing up. It felt like static energy in the air. We heard voices coming ever so slightly from the other side of the basement, and right beside us on the sofa, we felt a cold spot on the couch we were sitting on. It felt like a bag of ice was resting there. I don't remember everything, but we spoke to this spirit for what seemed like horrid hours, but it was only probably a few minutes. If I wasn't shaking earlier, I definitely was now. At some point, my friend asked, Evan, are there any demons present in this house? At that question, I was furious. We both agreed to never bring up demons when using the board, and I really didn't want to know the answer because I was so ready to be done. She, he, or whatever it was fell silent. We thought that it had left, and maybe it did, but a few minutes later, the plastic piece slowly crept over to the yes. Before we could even ask the next question, the piece started doing crazy figure eights. Ooh, you guys remember that? At first incoherent, but then it started going Z-O, Z-O, Z-O. We panicked. I was in tears. We put a cross on the board in lightning speed, and then eventually it stopped. I was petrified. We packed the board up and decided to head upstairs and get the inevitably terrible sleep we could manage, or just wait until the sun came up. This is when my friend started to act weird. This is when the bad stuff happened. He was really out of it, dazed almost. I remember going up the stairs and him standing in the darkness at the bottom of the stairs, staring off at the light switch. He was caressing it. David, are you all right? Come on, man, let's go, I called to him, my voice still shaking and tears rolling down my cheeks. He slowly looked up at me with a smirk I will never forget and softly said, I'm fine. We make it to my room. I'm ready for bed. I'm ready to sleep off this nightmare. Everything will be better in the morning, I tell myself, and all of a sudden, he drops to the floor. He starts convulsing. He starts laughing manically and uncontrollably. The way he was shaking was so inhuman. The way he was laughing, I will never forget it. I will never forget the way he was looking at me. The whole time he was looking me dead in the eyes. I will never forget that look in his eyes. I'm worried for his life and I'm shouting at this point. The fact that nobody woke up was astonishing. I don't know how long this went on for. Probably close to 5 minutes, but again, it felt like hours. He finally came to, sun up at this point. We somehow managed to sleep for a few hours. We slept in the same bed because neither one of us wished to be alone. The next morning, he didn't remember anything after we put the cross on the board. We make a post on some sketchy website, ZOZOexperience.org or something like that. I will try to find the link. Anyways, in the morning, we burned the board, which I heard isn't the greatest idea, but we were done. The following months, the dread hung over me that I unleashed something. I was so terrified to be alone in that house for months. One night, soon after the incident, I was up late in the kitchen and suddenly the lights started flickering on and off rapidly. I told my mom and brother about it the next morning. My brother said it was him messing with me, but later admitted it wasn't. He was just trying to make me feel less scared. I do have dimmer switches installed in the kitchen, light switches, and learned that dimmer switches are known to cause lights to flicker occasionally. So I don't know if that was related or not, but really, nothing ever happens to me after that. I still occupy the house to this day, and currently have the worst chills imaginable writing this. I still see David from time to time, and he swears I'm messing with him. I wish I was. I rarely think of the incident these days, but guests or people I barely know will feel very uneasy down in the basement. They'll feel like they're being watched or just get a general feeling of uneasiness, having no knowledge of this incident. My brother had a girlfriend live down there for an extended period of time, and she swears she would see shadows on the wall. She even got sleep paralysis regularly down there, which is something she's never experienced in her life. And now she won't even set foot down there. I also have a good friend named Brendan who would regularly sleep over and stay down there after a long night of beer drinking and Xbox. To this day, he won't go down there alone anymore after being awoke by shadows one night. No one in my family spends very much time down there anymore. All in all, this was my experience that truly made me believe I will never mess with anything like that again. Believe it or not, this is what happened when I decided to mess with a Ouija board and found. And let's just say, he is very, very real. And that is somebody's experience with this particular entity. There were some incredibly frightening experiences on the internet of people who claim to have had experiences with this specific entity. However, what I found that I liked about this specific encounter and why I felt the need to share it with you guys is because this encounter seems very, very real to me, in the sense that something terrifying happened while interacting with this entity. Something still lingers, but it isn't like a scary movie where all of these horrifying occurrences are continuing each and every day. And who knows what would happen if they would play with the board again. I would almost bet my life that this entity would come through once again and mess with them. But nonetheless, I found this story to seem incredibly real to me, and I felt as though this would be something great to share with you guys as far as what happens when people mess with this specific entity. What did you guys think of this person's experience? Have you had any experiences of your own, and did they correlate with this experience? Do you believe this experience to be true? Just drop your comments down below and let me know absolutely anything to do with this that you feel, because I always love reading your guys' experiences and responding to them. It makes my heart so, so, so happy to see your guys' engagement. Well, you guys, that is it for today's video. If you're new to my channel or you are just not yet subscribed but you do enjoy my videos, make sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button, because this week I'm going to be doing something absolutely crazy for 31 days of Halloween, and these next days leading up to Halloween are going to get incredibly, incredibly spooky. When I say I'm saving the best for these last few weeks, believe me, I am. So you definitely don't want to miss out, and please give this video a big thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Makes my heart also super, super happy when you guys do that, so please do that. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness, and until next time, I love you.